The Untold Story of the Goblin. Way back in 1978, there was an untold story about the Goblin, also known in the Philippines as Chana. There was a couple who lived in the mountain of Kidagong, a very far place from the mainland. Their house was surrounded by the big trees, wild animals, and only the light from the moon makes the place bright during that night, since there was no current that could reach their place. Friday at 5 p.m., the man named Marco was sitting on the wooden floor while making a fire for their dinner. As he walked towards the forest to find some wood, Marco noticed something white object in a distance. In his curiosity, he continued walking to see that white object. As he was close to it, Marco heard something weird voice crying inside a box, covered by a white cloth. As Marco opens the box, he was very surprised for what he has seen those times and almost ran away from it. Marco saw a very angelic and innocent face of a baby boy. Marco felt sorry for what he saw, so he took the baby and brought it to their house. Marco's pregnant wife was so scared and shocked, for she wonders who brought that baby into this forest in a mile away from the mainland. So, they take care of the baby as if it was their own child. Days go by, they've noticed something wrong every time they left the baby into his crib. But they just ignored all of those crazy behavior of the baby, as they think it was normal for a baby to talk some very weird words which seems to be angry. As weeks go by, Sarah, his wife, is about to give birth for their first baby. She screamed so loud and calling his husband's name, but Marco, her husband, was not around. Until she can't longer wait for her husband to come, she was able to give birth by herself at 12:30 p.m. Sarah cleaned herself on her own, looking so pale and dizzy, but Sarah continues and tries to be okay and wait until Marco's arrival. Sarah laid her baby girl on the top of her stomach until she fell asleep. Around 6 p.m., still Marco was not in home. Sarah woke up when her baby cried so loud. Sarah was shocked for what she saw those times. She cannot totally help herself to stand, and the baby they found was already changed into a goblin face. Sarah didn't know what to do. The baby on the crib was changed into a very small nut brown who don't walk on the ground but rather float in the air. It has a large nose, wide mouth with sharp teeth, large fierce bloodshot eyes, and sharp voices, and that goblin stared into her baby. Sarah can't move her body as if someone was holding her tightly until she saw everything. The angry and hungry goblin come and stole the baby from Marco's wife. Moreover, the goblin bite the stomach of the baby and mauled her baby until her baby died and being killed. Sarah was so shocked. Sarah can't even stand up and help her baby. So, Sarah cried watching her baby being killed by the goblin. She can't help her baby because she's still bleeding because of giving birth. A few seconds, the goblin go towards the tummy of Sarah, and the goblin bit Sarah on his right arm and leg. Sarah screamed out loud for asking help. Sarah shouted Marco's name that time, and luckily, Marco heard the call or shout of Sarah. Marco immediately ran towards their house. Sarah was almost killed by the goblin, and luckily, Marco arrived around 6:22 a.m. But before Marco arrived, the goblin noticed that Marco was coming and is near around the house. That's why the goblin quickly hid the pitiful body of the baby. Maybe the goblin just coated the body of the baby with a bed mat, and after that, the goblin immediately go back to his crib and turn his appearance into a very angelic face and pretending as an innocent with a very pleasing voice as if he wants to be carried by Marco. Then, finally, Marco arrived and opened the main door because he wants to go inside their house to check Sarah, his wife. Upon opening the main door, Marco was shocked about what he saw at that time. He can't even believe on what he saw and can't even imagine about what happened to his wife and their baby. He wondered why their baby was gone. Marco was so confused on what happened to Sarah. Marco asked Sarah about where did she get the blood on his dress. Sarah said all of what was happened while Marco is not around on their house. Sarah reported that she already gave birth of their baby. Sarah also said to Marco that the baby that they found is a goblin, and that goblin killed their baby. Then after that, Marco cried out for what his wife had said, but Marco can still believe that his baby was killed by a goblin. Marco noticed that the baby on the crib was crying out loud, and that was the baby that they found before and was being pointed by Sarah as a killer goblin who killed their baby. So, Marco go towards the baby. As Marco was about to carry the baby boy, Sarah screamed and stopped him to carry the baby. But Marco disregarded what Sarah had said and continued to carry the baby and laid into his shoulder. The baby stopped crying and still Marco did not believe about what Sarah had told him. Until Sarah died because of losing too much blood because of giving birth, Marco didn't know what to do. He cried and screamed while looking at Sarah and thinking how did things happen just like that. Because of his anger, he started to think and believe about what Sarah had reported to him. Marco put the baby back into his crib and go to the kitchen. Marco picked up a samurai and he held it while hiding the samurai from his back. He approached the goblin baby and stared at the baby. He wisely killed the baby that was being pointed as a goblin. While the goblin was not facing him, Marco killed the goblin with the use of samurai that is being poured with holy water. The baby turned into a goblin with a freaking face, but the goblin can't fight back to Marco because the goblin was already stabbed by the samurai that was being poured by a holy water. So Marco was determined to kill the goblin, and he stabbed the goblin how many times with the use of his samurai. The goblin turned into ashes and vanished just like a bubble. Marco was so disappointed to himself and repented because of picking up the baby goblin before. Late at night, an old lady came into his house and told him about the goblin. After explaining everything, the old lady was gone immediately, and that time Marco knew that Sarah was right. Sarah was right from what she had said. Until Marco immediately buried the dead body of his wife and his baby, Marco leaves the house and decided to reside in the mainland and start his new life again. That would be all.